Alright, welcome back to another video. It is April 28th today. Today, I'm going to be starting off by working on my truck. So, this thing is a 1992 F-150. Little bit of history on this truck. My grandfather bought it new in 1992. In 2014 we sold it, and then I bought it back 2022. So I drove this thing every day to college. It's really enjoyable to drive, but it's got some rust on it, you can see. So I had a body shop quote what it would cost to take all the rust off of it and to repaint it. I got a price that I really liked. I decided I couldn't do it myself for that money, or I couldn't do it myself efficiently for that money, the amount of time it would take me. So I'm gonna go ahead and go through with that. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull my toolbox off of this thing and this plastic bed liner out, along with all the stuff out of the bed, of course, and then this truck will get redone. Yeah, this is what we're looking at. It's got a lot of dents and dings here and there. Got spray foam on it here and there. That's fine. They're gonna get rid of all that. So we're gonna be up to this morning. Pull the toolbox out and then the bed liner. Alright, so we are now down here by the manure pile, and we're gonna start hauling manure. So got my bike again. I'm gonna bike back to the farm, then hopefully today we'll finish hauling manure. It is election day, so we have to vote, and we got a silo that is getting gun-nighted today or replastered. So once they're done with that, I will have to help pull out the scaffolding. So I'm really hoping in the, what do I have, 6 hours, 7 hours to be able to finish this pile. I should be able to, as long as nothing goes wrong. But that's what we got going on here. Truck just sewed up, so that's good. And that's the setup. So a concrete truck running to a little pumper trailer, then they'll pump the concrete up inside the silo, and then they'll replaster the walls. I'll show you what that looks like once they're all done. Put a photo on the screen of what the walls look like now. And yeah, now they're recoating them, putting new concrete on to kind of cover up all the gaps in the blocks of that silo there of this one. So yeah, If you don't know, tower silos are made of blocks, and all these blocks are stacked on top of each other, and then they're sealed up with cement. That silo there, like I mentioned in the last video, is now 50 years old. So it's being recoated, so chip off all the old concrete, and then you can put on new concrete, and then it'll be good as new. So that's what we're going ahead and doing, just silo maintenance. Anyway, I'm gonna leave them be to do their thing. They're pretty busy over there. So that concrete driver or truck driver has never dumped into a pump like that before, he said. So they're figuring it out, so things are starting a little bit slower, but anyway, they'll get it figured out. So I'm gonna get started on moving manure, but that is the silo getting looked after. So that pump pumps it up in the silo to where they can work with it, put new concrete on the walls. Put a photo on the screen of the platform that they're working on. I climbed up there in the last video as well, but if you didn't watch that, I'll show you what that looks like. But I'm gonna get started now on hauling manure. So we have load number 1, which is out of the dairy barn this morning, and we're gonna go ahead and get spread, and then we're gonna keep hauling from down by the pile. Turn the PTO on. We're gonna gear down. This load of manure isn't very full, but it doesn't make sense to run down the road and load it up the last little bit, so we're just gonna go ahead and spread it now. But hopefully by the end of the day this field is looking pretty covered in manure. All right, let's start loading the spreader. the pile, this over here is on bedrock, but up there it's on dirt, so that's why I'm scooping a little higher. Able to grab nice big buckets with this loader tractor though. It's really nice because then we can load the spreader pretty quick. I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start scooping manure from this side on the next load, because over there I keep scooping up a little bit of dirt and I don't want to do that. So the reason being, kind of why I mentioned, is that there is all sitting on bedrock, and then the dirt kind of rises up a little bit of a hill here. So what I don't want to do is strip off all the topsoil along with the manure, because it's more loads to haul out, and I like the topsoil here. So if I scoop here, I can scoop flat and scoop up all the manure and get it hauled out and leave all the soil, and then I won't be hauling so many loads. So it's kind of what I'm hoping for. Alright, it is scooping up way better now, so yeah. Able to run flat along the ground, and when I'm scooping off dirt, then the tractor doesn't try and hop along the rock over there. Grab a little bit of dirt over there, I see. There, quite a bit of manure fits in one load. Normally I'd leave the tractor running in between loads, but anytime they're going to be done working on a silo and they'll need help taking the scaffolding out. So if I'm out in the field spreading and they call, I'd have to run back to set the tractor off and then run there, versus if I just set it off, I wouldn't have to worry about that. Got another load of manure loaded up. Gotta run home now and help the silo guys out. They're all done, so pull the scaffolding out. But we're making really good progress. Probably got all the stuff out now. Now he's working on the bottom of the silo. Pretty cool. So yeah, I would have filmed taking everything out, but that was my first time taking everything out, so I didn't want to be in the way for that, but it'll be alright. We'll be doing it again at some point, now that I know what's going on, and it'll be a whole lot easier to show you guys. But there's 3 of us, 2 in the silo. I was one of the guys in the silo. And 1 guy in the truck, and we got everything out in about 10-15 minutes, so went pretty quick. There he goes, all 3 hooked together. So we got the truck, the trailer, and the pump. Pretty cool setup. Alright, so everything is now stripped down off the truck. So they're pretty sure they can get everything straightened out. I just talked to him on the phone again, telling him I'm dropping it off. So threw the bed rails in here and the other step for the side. Well, this is what the truck's looking like right now. It's starting to rust here as well. This fender got front bumper sag, a little bit of paint peeling on the front. Overall, it's still really solid underneath. That's the frame. That is the underside. Even the underside of the bed looks good. That's why I'm putting money into it. But it looks good. So this side, it's getting a new rocker. But so what we got going on, there's a small hole in the floor over here. But other than that, the floor is solid. So it's in pretty good shape for what it is. Show you under the hood. I actually went ahead and put a new radiator support in this truck when I got it. And that's what it looks like underneath the hood. But there you go. I'm gonna miss driving this thing for a month, but once it's back, it'll be in the best shape it's been in for a while. So there's little bits of stuff to do to it here and there. I got a wheel speed sensor that acts up sometimes. It's got, at some point it'll need a rear main seal. Leaks a little bit of oil in that department, but still, it's got like 136,000 kilometers on it, and it is in really good shape otherwise, other than rust. So alright, it is now the next day. You can see that the silo has been all gunnited and coated. There's no longer any holes in it anywhere. There's a big hole in here. They put some wire in there and slapped concrete in there. added a little weep tile here so that if the silo juices, all the juice runs out from the tile. But yeah, April 2025 Elmer Ginrich silo. So there we go. This silo should be in good shape for another probably 10 years till we have to do it again. Maybe more, 15. But that's good. Alright, I have load number 10 loaded up that I'm gonna go spread. That is all the manure that's left. I'm guessing there's maybe 4, 5 loads left in there. I just finished cleaning up around here. So yeah, that's what we got left. So this will be the last load that I spread before lunch. But yeah, there'll be roughly 40 loads in here by the time I'm all done, maybe a little closer to 35. So you'll be able to see that field's getting quite a bit of manure on it. I'm gonna set the windows there. So yeah, that field has quite a bit of manure on it now, which is good, because I'm kind of hoping that this pile pretty well fill in the whole field of manure. I always find the manure that's been piled is really hard packed, so then I open up the end gate before I'm actually all the way revved up, before I even need to be in line to spread. But yeah, this morning we started over there by kind of the golden color straw. That was the first load I took out this morning, because that was from the dairy barn, and all the rest of the darker stuff is actually from the pile. We're able to do a load about every 20 minutes between loading and spreading, so we are making pretty good time. like to run down one of the ends of the field. So you can see I've always been running back down this end, kind of for two reasons. One, it becomes really smooth, so then you can drive quick. And then the other reason is compaction, so the way that the soil packs down is reduced if you continue to drive over it. So the first pass that you drive on, soil will compact maybe that much. Then the next, it won't compact as much. So then you're only having a little bit of your field that's been driven over a lot, versus if you drive everywhere, you actually have a little more compaction. But that's just my logic. Right or wrong, who knows, but that's from what I've understood. There you go. That is what it looks like when you spread one of the loads of manure. It's a little rough through here. But there's not really a lot of manure left. Just a couple loads for after lunch. Probably another 2 hours, so work out pretty good. Generally, I don't like to drive through all the manure and load sitting in the manure, because then it keeps the road cleaner. But just because of all the manure we've already pulled out, it gets kind of hard not to. So that's why we're doing what we're doing. Alright, so I'm unloading the last load of manure. The pile is almost done, but not quite. I had a bearing go out on the manure spreader, making weird noises right now. I had a bearing go out on the manure spreader, so I had a little fire, and I didn't realize until after I had it loaded again. So I got the fire out, and now I'm unloading the spreader. Alright, so it's this bearing in here. It's on a pillow block. So once I pull the gears off, I'll be able to see it. But yeah, it's really windy out, so I'm not going to talk for too long, but there's this little bearing on that shaft there, and that is what ended up going out. I'll show you what it looks like. One of these. I've already done one before, so it shouldn't be horrible to do. It'll be a little bit of work, but nothing too crazy. This side will be a little more work because I had to pull all this off, but it'll be fine. Alright, it is the next day. It is around 3 o'clock, and I finally got the spreader back together and fixed. It's all sealed up, otherwise I'd show you. So after running back and forth to Katie's bearings twice and having some issues with getting the bearings, we got something that'll work. I guess something ended up happening with the supplier they get the bearings from, and they couldn't get them today, so we changed some stuff about how it worked, so now we can be back at spread manure. But that is hauling manure out of the pile all done. I'm gonna go ahead and get started on the heifer barn, but I'll see you guys in the next video for that. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed.